Hello and welcome to the Time Is Now podcast. I have a very special guest today. Her name's Sarah, and she's actually my cousin. And I'm going to turn it over to her because she does a lot of exciting things that I never knew about. Sarah?
Yes, thank you, Jody. Thanks for having me on the Time Is Now podcast. It's great to connect with you and your community, and yeah, share some things we may have in common as cousins, but also with your community. So, I am a new soulpreneur, I call it. My creation that I've just released into the world is called Sorcha Circle, and it is nature-inspired wellness and healing arts. So I'm offering a number of programs and modalities in the healing arts, but really with that nature infused aspect to everything I do. So, yeah, that's what I guess we're here to talk about today, but really looking forward to our conversation. Again, thanks for having me.
Very welcome. Happy to have you here. Yeah, I was on your website, and also by knowing you, you spend a lot of time in nature. Um, can you speak about that? And I know you do the forest bathing, and I did a little research on that and the trees and the forest's ability to heal people.
Yes, yes, absolutely. I think from a very young age, something we definitely have in common was finding comfort in the forest, finding comfort in nature. And I grew up in an urban setting, but there was a wood lot around the corner from where I grew up, and I just loved exploring in there. And you can't go into a forest and spend time in nature and not feel uplifted. There's natural, as you say, healing properties within nature that we are part of nature. So it's a connection to the earth. But yeah, it just found throughout my young life, I got involved in camping, backcountry camping, canoeing. I was even a Boy Scout leader for a while. It was just a recurring theme in my life. And then into university, I was a park naturalist within the provincial park system and actually met my partner there as well, who also is very much connected to nature and the outdoors. He's a real outdoorsman. He was a park warden. And we went on to do natural heritage education and outreach for schools in the early part of our careers and have come full circle. Like my career professionally, I've been involved in environmental remediation. So, really helping to clean up contaminated sites and restore the earth. But in the last 10, 15 years, it's been a very interesting evolution with my professional career because it's also working with Indigenous communities here on Turtle Island and receiving input from them from Indigenous knowledge systems, ecological and traditional knowledge systems, and infusing that with Western science to restore the land. So it's that career has been very inspiring to me and that connection with Indigenous peoples. And it's resulted in me really wanting to connect more with my own ancestry. So not only is my programs and offerings weaving in the natural environment, but it's also connecting into my Celtic ancestry and my Irish heritage. And when we look back at traditional cultures across the world, there was always a reverence and dependence and interconnectedness with nature. And I think there's a movement now for all of us to really connect more and see how we are, integrated on this planet. And yeah, as far as the healing properties, I'd love to talk more a little bit about sylvotherapy if you'd like, Jody.
Sure, it's great. I'm very interested in my Celtic past and my Irish past as well. I did a little bit of research. I have some books. Um, yeah, there's for me, I'm going to use the word power there.
Mhm.
When we reconnect with who we are, I feel we've been pulled away from it, and I'm a little bit maybe more of an extremist. I've been out there, and people know who I am. I've come to a point in my life where I can't really believe much of what I've learned in my 65 years here on the planet. All the learning that's coming from me now is like what you said, walking out in the trees. I mean, I think most of us have had like Reiki sessions or healing sessions and know how we feel when we leave them. I feel the same way when I come out of the forest, and it just like takes layers of my onion off, and I'm understanding more who I am.
Absolutely. Yeah, and sylvotherapy or forest bathing, when I bring a friend, a client out into the forest, it's not a rigorous nature hike. We're not out there, on an endurance hike. It's really to settle into the forest and observe and activate all our senses. So our sight, our hearing, smells, and really um, get a sense of being part of nature because we truly all are. And one of the practices I love in sylvotherapy is sit spot, where you take one spot and you return to it time after time after time, season over season, and you observe the changes that happen cyclically in that one spot. And it's just wonderful when you have time to sit and meditate in nature, how that little ecosystem will accept you. And the critters will go about their routines as you sit there quietly and observe. And you are indeed kin, like you are connected. And if you return to that same spot over and over, you can see how it changes. And one really magical moment that happened for me in a particular spot in a provincial park near me that I love to sit. It's, the forest is around me, but there's a nice kind of corridor through the trees that you can see out into the marshland and then opens up into the lake. And you can, watch the red-winged blackbirds. You can see the swans come and go over the seasons. But I've seen a little airman, a little weasel, and everyone, his little home, his little burrow must be nearby because every once in a while I'll get the pleasure, a gift of seeing this little guy. And in the spring of the year, a couple years ago, I saw him and he was half white and half brown as it was transitioning from winter to spring. And what just what a magical moment to see that. And I knew they changed because I've seen them in the white state and then in their sort of brown camouflage state for the warmer half of the year. But to see him half and half was just such a cool thing and such a gift to receive.
You mentioned, did you refer to it as sylvotherapy?
Yes, yeah.
Is that just in the forest, or is there more to that, or what? Can you
The
define what?
silvo is like the science or Latin for trees, silvo, forest. So that's where that terminology comes from. So, but it actually originates from Japan. So, like our Reiki practices and whatnot, Shinrin Roku is silvotherapy or forest bathing. And in Japan, there's a very high density of population in urban centers. And they recognized that being surrounded by concrete and built structures has an impact on us. It can wear us down. If we're not connecting with the natural surroundings, um, there's something missing. And in fact, they prescribe in some cases. They prescribe, and we're seeing that starting to be picked up in Western society too, time in nature and spending time. And they have some beautiful ancient forests to just connect, breathe, touch, feel, sit in the surrounding forest was recognized to have such beneficial properties for uplifting, um, your spirit, your energy, but also minimizing the impacts of things like anxiety, depression, stressors in your life, things like that, and also beneficial physical aspects like respiratory, and so we're seeing that even Parks Canada has a parks PARX, like prescription parks, where you, I guess, in some progressive medical doctors will actually prescribe you to go and spend time out in parks and be out in nature because it is well documented how beneficial it is for us and our well-being to spend time in the natural world and remove ourselves from the built states.
I have a book here. It's pretty old, and it talks about elementals and energies and plants and nature. And it says in that book, and I believe it, that on our spiritual path, our evolutionary path, whatever you want to call it, we can only go so far. I'll say we can go 25 to 30% on our own by, in this world. To go the rest, you have to spend time in nature. Nature actually works on your energy bodies, on your DNA. I don't know how it does it, but it actually pulls us along on the path that we're supposed to be walking on.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, I
And
believe it. I think we can only go so far in isolation as a species. We do on this planet have to be connected and integrated, and just how our bodies are structured. 70% water, the planet is 70% ocean. And we wonder why we're impacted by things like the full moon. Like it impacts the tides. So yeah, we are really connected. And we go back to our ancestry, as we were talking earlier, Jody, and you look to like the Celtic Isles and in Ireland in particular, those standing stones and formations, portal formations like Bruna Bloin, Newgrange. This is five to 6,000 years ago. So, you know, before the time of the pyramids, even where they were aligning these structures with celestial occurrences. So, like the equinox, the solstice, the winter sun, solstice sunrise, things like that, gives you a sense of how connected our ancestors were to the cycles of not only our planet but the entire universe. And there was a reverence and ceremony and ritual associated with that. And I think a lot of us are pining for that. And, I think we talked about this, like some may think we're woo woo, but it's scientific,
it
you
is
know?
scientific.
It's scientific and it's real. Like these cycles are real, and that alignment, to be able to have done that before any of our technology, to align, the portal tomb openings so that the, solstice sunrise would come into the and penetrate the interior of Newgrange, for example. But there's so many of them, these sites. It's incredible, and it really opens your mind to the past, but also maybe a path for us going forward to be more reverent of the natural cycles. As we
Yeah.
know, there's a lot of impact that humans have had on the environment, and we know the time is now, like your podcast, that we
Got
need to
it. It is.
turn
Yeah.
around.
I read once that the Irish built the pyramids.
Huh.
Like history is a little bit different than what we've been led to believe at times. So it's really cool. And a lot of this stuff is here in Canada as well. It's just they
Mhm.
don't want to bring it out for some reason. We even have pyramids. So I was told by a Medean elder.
Mhm.
Um, so who knows where it's going to go. You also do Reiki.
I do.
Want to talk
Yes.
about that? Tell us more about what you do, because I can get flying off on a tangent anywhere.
Yes, yeah. No, there's a few things I've honed in on as far as things that have helped me, that have brought me comfort and support, that I've then gone ahead and learned more about and acquired my certifications so I can share them with the community. I think with Sorcha Circle, my desire at this stage of where I'm at in my life, I can see my retirement coming ahead and I'm looking at transitioning. And what I really want to do is be in service to people. And things like Reiki has been such a supportive tool for me in balancing my own energies, giving me, again, that grounding and comfort. Aligning with our chakras and how our body is connected energetically. And it translates even into my work in sound and sensory therapy, because we're all energy vibrating frequencies. And I've just find that connecting into that and giving us time to breathe in and feel that, and feel that energy between beings. So human to human, or in my case, I've really enjoyed animal Reiki. So that was really what intrigued me at first. I am a equestrian. I have a beautiful 26-year-old American quarter horse mare, and she had some issues with her one leg, and I was just looking for non-intrusive ways to assist her, and I started to explore Reiki. I had enjoyed the benefits of Reiki, and so it was really initially pet and equine Reiki that I was interested in and got to explore because my mare's on a farm with a herd of horses, and they are, again, talking about energies and sensitivities and animals. Again, I'm always coming back to nature and weaving it back to our animal kin. They are so perceptive of the slightest movement of energy, and even a fly landing on the hip of a 12 to 1500 pound horse, their ear will flick, and then as you apply Reiki, you don't even have to apply any pressure or touch. They'll sense that, and you can see the muscle twitch, you can see the ear twitch, and it just really opened my eyes to how impactful it is. Like it was something I could see and witness, but also feel. And so that's kind of part of what got me into it. But I've now gone through the Reiki training program, done my levels, and I'm a master Reiki practitioner. So that is something I'm wanting to offer to individuals as well. I continue to offer to pets and horses, but I'm exploring Celtic Reiki too. So using the Ogham, which is people might be familiar with runes in the sort of Germanic, Nordic culture. In Celtic, there's Ogham, which is a symbology associated with the trees and alphabet and whatnot, and you can incorporate that. And I have naturally kind of wanted to incorporate that into my Reiki, but I'm getting my certifications in Celtic Reiki as well to be able to share that and weave in the ancestral portion of Celtic mythology into my work in Reiki.
I like the ancestral stuff and I like the mythology. For me, I'm having a hard time finding good sources of information. Um, yeah, there's definitely something there, eh? I've done some work with horses too, doing veins of water, noxious veins of water. I got a call from a guy once, a friend of mine. He used to raise racehorses, and he had one that was recently born, had all kinds of health issues, and the people who had invested in the horse said, "We can't put any more money in. We got to put him down." So I got the call. I went out. There was 14 noxious veins of water around the stall where the horse was. We neutralized those. That horse was up on his feet in half an hour, and it went on and was sold and won a lot of races.
Oh,
So they are very receptive to energy.
yes, absolutely. Absolutely. It's interesting. And they can have their own drama among the herd too. And as you change up, who's in the herd, you can see how the whole herd will adapt as well. And my mare at this point is the matriarch of the herd, and she's always, I'd say, she's in the last number of years been the eldest in the herd, and they would look to her if something was going down, like a coyote out in the
Yeah.
bush. They'd actually turn from the alpha and look to her because she's wise. She's the wise elder of the herd. But as dynamics change, she's now actually both the alpha and the matriarch, and it's just interesting to see how she's like kind of come into her own. I say she's in her cronehood now, as I'm entering my cronehood. But I look to her because she's a wise old mare. She's sassy, but yeah, they're incredible to observe. And as I've migrated from riding, I now really I could just sense, again, listening to her. I'm really into um, natural horsemanship, so really paying attention, not dominance, it's partnership. And in listening to her, I could tell she was ready to retire from riding. She'd retired from her kind of professional career, and then just our gentle riding even was starting to be too much. And now I'm enjoying this time even more so, of just sitting in pasture with her and observing her behavior and the behavior of the herd, and then how they will just so naturally interact with their surroundings, like the deer, and they're all hooved animals, right? Like they're a family in sense, and how they interact together is so interesting to watch.
Yeah, I love learning from animals. Summer solstice is coming up, and you are having a gathering.
I am, yes.
Want to tell us about that and tell us about your circle?
Yes, yeah. One of the things I do like to do is circles, gatherings. I'm a certified women's circle facilitator with Global Sisterhood. And in my career, I've just led and facilitated groups. And it's been so wonderful to now to transition and being a participant of many circles, now offering my own circles, and this coming June 20th, I will be hosting a Summer Solstice Sound and Sensory journey. And yeah, we'll recognize the shortest night of the year and prepare my circle for the morning after and rising with the summer solstice sun. And we'll be doing a beautiful sound journey together, which includes uh we use the I'll be using the percussion, the shamanic drums, chimes, but also the singing bowls. And so it'll be a journey of the senses and connecting into story. So I'll be sharing story to guide people, but we'll end with a beautiful, relaxing, meditative, just peaceful, I guess, finishing up with the singing bowls so that people can go off to bed, have a good night's sleep for the shortest night of the year, and rise early for the morning sunrise.
Nice. Tell us how we get a hold of you. How do they register for that, or like your website?
Yes, yeah, probably a best place to go would be to check out my website, Jody. I have a new features and events page on the website that I've just added, and I have the poster there for their summer solstice event. And I'm located in Ontario, as you are, in just north of Peterborough. So we're hosting the circle in Bridgenorth, but you can contact me and I'll give you all the details, how to get your ticket and sign up. And we are going to try and keep it fairly intimate. So yeah, the tickets are limited. So do encourage people to sign up, and would love to see you and join in circle. And I should mention, since I'm mentioning my location, that I'm also on the traditional treaty land of the Williams Treaties First Nation. So I'm on Treaty 20 territory on Chemung Lake, and just feel very fortunate to have the opportunity to live, work, and play on the culturally significant lands and waterways here in the Kawarthas.
Great. I everything I do here on the property here, I live in Milton. I I, I asked a friend of mine, and he said, well, the different groups of, the indigenous people they had like a flag. He said it was like colors. So I have what the colors he told me, and I fly them here, and I have them on the things that I do as a respect to the people. I mean, I don't believe we should just walk in and do our thing, and it's a bigger picture than that, isn't it?
It truly is. And it's nice that you say that. Like, I think to recognize the land in which we are standing is important. And likewise, when we're in the forest, part of my sylvotherapy or forest bathing practice is to share the things I've learned from the work, the training, the courses I've taken from the Celtic side, but also with the work I've done with Indigenous communities here on Turtle Island. And it is a reverence and gratitude to even enter into the forest, to sit among the plants and the animals. So um, asking permission, providing an offering, whether it's just oats or seeds, something very organic and natural to the area. But it's a reciprocal relationship.
Absolutely. And I
Mhm.
tell people sometimes have said to me, well, I don't have tobacco, or I don't have this, or you got a water bottle, are you drinking water? Give some water back. It's the acknowledgement, right? It's the intent. Um, I'm going to ask you, are you exploring herbs, wild plants?
Not too much, Jody. I think one of the things that, again, was part of the Sylvotherapy practice I like to incorporate is we conclude with a tea. So I usually just have an herbal tea. I bring in a canister. I don't like to just set fire, and boil, or I could probably bring my camp stove with me, but normally I've just brought it in a canister. And I have peppermint here that I'll harvest for that. But really, that's the way I've just incorporated the herbs into my Sylvotherapy. And we talk about harvesting, and again, what goes into that. And you have to make sure that you're, in an area that you're welcome to do that. But again, being reciprocal, ensuring that you're always making an offering if you're receiving as well. But yeah, just through herbal teas and whatnot.
Yeah, and you're right about asking. I don't, for me, it's more of an interaction. It's like, how we're talking here. I
Yeah.
talk to rocks like that. I talk to trees like that, and I come out and said that a long time ago. Um, we have lost touch with the connection we have with our world, and we have to get
Mhm.
it back. Are you a barefoot walker? You walk around the grass in bare feet?
I do, yes. Like, I've really found it fascinating to hear the kind of uptake and understanding of the benefits of grounding. And people are really starting to realize the benefits of connecting soul to soil. And I love it. Like, I think it's yeah, when you are connected, and even hands on trees. We joke about tree hugging, but I'm a tree hugger because when you're connected that way, and your skin to bark, or soul to soil, you're really getting that energy exchange with Mother Earth, with the plants, with the trees. And there are some incredibly beneficial physical uh, benefits from that, and I guess from anti-inflammatory benefits. But you're really connecting. If you learn more about the trees and the root system and the mycelium network and how it communicates, again, we're part of nature. So if you can make that connection, you can see cool videos on measuring the frequency when you have your shoes on, versus when you have your shoes off. It's fascinating, but it makes a lot of sense. And I think that's a lot of Reiki practitioners. You're taught and trained to hone those skills, but some of us innately have it, where you can literally feel the energy um, off of the plant, off of the soil, off of the trees. And I have grandmother Maple here in my yard, and I do greet her every morning. She's standing tall even after all the ice storms. She's had a bit of a haircut, a bit of a natural pruning, but this tree must be 200 years old based on the width of her trunk. And I will just rest next to her, either put my hands on her in the morning, or I'll sit and lean up against her trunk. And I just think it's so beneficial both ways. I think talking to the rocks, the plants, the trees, the animals is good for us, and it's good for them. I think they respond to it. So I'm with you, Jody.
Great. You're also a writer. You write articles and you have another spot where you post those?
Yes, yes. I do love to, I've always loved to journal. And in my work I do a lot of writing. My career, I've done a lot of writing, but I love to write for pleasure. Love to tell stories or recount experiences I've had. And I've discovered Substack. It's a wonderful platform online. So there's so many social media areas you can be exploring, but Substack is a place that I've found is very warm, very welcoming, and it supports writers of all sorts. So, rising authors, experienced journalists, or just people who love to write and journal. It's a very welcoming space, and you can write short snippets and share, or longer articles and pieces. But it's a great way to explore and be seen. Put your work out into the world. So yeah, my Substack is, again, Sorcha Circle, and there's a nice story I would direct people to read. It's called Fox in the Forest, and it's a little bit about my vision and the origins of Sorcha Circle and connecting to my love of exploring the forest and my connection with our animal kin and allies. So Fox in the Forest is a nice little piece to maybe introduce people to me, my heart, my soul, and my work.
It's good. You're authentic. You're speaking from who you are. The world needs more of that.
Huh.
On your website, I noticed you playing an instrument. It's not a ukulele, I don't think. What
No,
kind? Come on, tell us what it is.
that's a mandolin.
Oh,
It's a mandolin. So I grew up very musical. So I've played the violin since I was wee little, and classical, but then also explored fiddling, especially when I got into parks and sitting around campfire. So I enjoy fiddling, the Celtic and Cape Breton type fiddling. I kind of fell away from it, as we do sometimes, as we get into adulthood. But I've been finding this whole experience in the last, I don't know, as you get into your 40s and into your 50s, you start getting nostalgic, right? And you start full circle moments and you start bringing things back. And I really started to start playing with my violin, my fiddle a little bit more. But she's a beaut. She's over 105 at this point years old, this violin. And I was wanting something I felt a little more comfortable getting outside with. And the mandolin is strung the same way as a fiddle. And so I started to explore the mandolin a few years back. And yeah, that's what you see in the photographs is the mandolin. And on the back embossed in gold is the triple spiral. So the triple spiral is a symbol that you see in a lot of the Celtic mythology. It's a symbol that has many meanings, always in series of threes. You get various, maid, mother, crone, that type of thing, or life, birth, life, afterlife, things like that. Lots of symbology around it. But the triple spiral in particular is in the center of the New Grange structure at the Brunaboyne complex. So I love that on the mandolin. So yeah.
can I ask, have you ever done any work with labyrinths?
Oh yeah. Love labyrinths. And that's actually, you'll see that in my logo,
Yeah, I
the
did.
O
Yeah.
on Sorcha, and then Sorcha Circle. That symbolism I love, because labyrinths are again something that we see in cultures across the world. And they're sometimes considered mazes, but there's actually a difference between a maze and a labyrinth. In a labyrinth, you can't make a wrong turn. You're weaving and going through a journey to the center and then back out. And I love the symbolism behind that we're on a path and we can discover and continue, and you'll always make the right turn. It may not feel right initially, but we're on the path we're meant to be on. So yeah, there's a labyrinth up in Bancroft actually that I really connected with in recent years, and I really like that symbology. Again, working with the ancient sites, the use of rocks for labyrinths, but I mean some are formed from hedges and things. It's a creative outlet as well, and your audience is welcome to go on my website. It's actually a gift I have on my website. If you on the front page or on the contact page, you'll see the opportunity to click and receive a copy of my Explore the Forest Labyrinth. It's just a kind of a movement meditative practice. It's a finger labyrinth or a hand labyrinth, and it'll guide you through to the center and back out. And I have some guidance there on how you can kind of connect and set intentions as you go through that, and then journal afterwards. And it's also a cool coloring sheet. So,
That's really interesting because I'll tell you, in the last couple of weeks, that's all come up for me. Finger labyrinths.
oh,
I'm gonna make one. Have you ever made one?
I haven't made one.
Well,
I've made like spirals of rocks and whatnot,
next
but not an
spring.
actual labyrinth.
It'll be next spring. I can't do it this spring, but I mean, I got lots of land, so you know where I'm talking about.
Yes,
Could do a
yes.
huge labyrinth there, and I recently
Oh,
just found out about triangular shaped labyrinths as well,
oh, interesting.
three-sided. Yeah, so keep that in mind. I can't do it till next spring, but I can lay it out in the fall. I can go up and start laying it out. So if
Oh.
you want to be part of that project, that would be something exciting. We could uh, videotape it all and share it with the world.
Oh, I think that's a really exciting idea and so creative. And you can do so much with it. I've even found that just, with the design work and doing the logo, because to me, like the labyrinth, it looks like the spiral in the Celtic symbology and artistry and rock carvings. It looks like a thumbprint. It looks like,
Yeah,
or it looks like tree rings. It looks like so much, right?
yeah.
And the labyrinth itself is loaded with symbolism and meaning too.
I'll share a little bit about what's coming to me because they say that a labyrinth, if you walk it properly, will tap into your subconscious mind and your higher self, and I believe, doorways. They can open doorways.
Mm.
So, and standing stones at I got ideas. We'll talk moving forward.
Love it.
I'm sure
That's
it's in line with what you're thinking, and your life.
Yeah, yeah.
Anything else jump into the forefront that you want to talk about, Sarah?
I think the other thing just to share as far as the work that I'm offering out there in the world and how I'd like to be of service. I've mentioned the sound therapy. I've mentioned the forest and nature therapy, sylvotherapy, Reiki. But developmental coaching is another piece that I'm getting into, and I call it emotional alchemy support. So I am trained as an emotional health practitioner. I have a background in trauma informed engagement, mental health first aid, and neuro network therapy. So it's something that I'm also inviting in clients for that work. I have space in a beautiful co-working space at a wellness center at Realign Wellness Center in Peterborough on Charlotte Street, where there's all sorts of practitioners there, and they have a nice, comfortable container that they've created there. And I have been supporting, mentoring, coaching, supervising staff and people for well over 20 years. And it's mostly been for career development, that type of thing. But it leads into, what their intentions are, what their hopes are for their future. And in my developmental coaching and emotional alchemy support, really want to provide support to women like myself that may have had a bit of an awakening, into their 40s, and they're just thinking, where am I going? What is my purpose? What is my how can I derive more meaning in my day to day, and connecting into what you were describing to your authenticity, your authentic self, and having that invitation to explore. And I would like to help, and maybe that's something I'll share too. Sorcha in Sorcha Circle means Sarah in Irish Gaeilge, but it also means bright light or shining. And the mythology behind Sorcha was that she guided the path, light, for guiding people down a path. And that's what I'm really hoping to do, is just shine some light for people and help them explore their path through the labyrinth. So I'd just like to share that part with you and your community as well.
That's great. And the information's coming into me like crazy while you're talking. And they want me to ask, when's the book coming out?
Oh, oh my goodness, Jody, that is very perceptive. Wow. And that's wow. I was at a Reiki share last month, and there was a very powerful channel there, and she actually asked me the same thing. She was honing in on my right hand and then asked me that question, and it actually brings tears to my eyes, because I have thought about that for years and years. And I've tapped away on the keyboard, and I had close to 20,000 words at one point, and I parked it, and I journal. And this is why I really like Substack, because I have been able to get some of that out. But um, with that question and that support I've been hearing, I think I maybe need to look into that and explore that, because I do think I have a book in me that would like to be birthed and shared with the world.
Oh, definitely. There's a book there. And another thing that comes is don't think, just do it. I've spent my life, Sarah, thinking about things and all the reasons why I couldn't. And I've learned in the recent years, you know what? Just jump and go ahead and do it. And it takes care of itself. And writing, you're already a writer. Just
Mm,
the world needs it.
hmm. Well, thank you for that encouragement, receiving and appreciating that.
Yeah,
And yeah, I think I need to spend more time writing.
beautiful. So with that, I'm gonna probably will sign off, but I don't want you to run away because once I turn the record off, I want to talk to you for a minute.
Yeah.
So any last words?
No, just again, my thanks to you for your support, Jody. I admired your work for a long time, and I think honestly, 2013, you were here and Catherine were here, and you were doing shows and showing your crystals, and it gave me some inspiration, and I just am inspired by you following your authenticity and your path, and seeing people like that and being in these types of communities is really encouraging for others. So as I'm a new soulpreneur exploring my future, I really appreciate your support in providing a platform like this for me to talk and share, and just really sending love and light to you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. Anytime, like we can do more shows, or if you want a message to share, let me know and we can get together.
Mila buikas. Mila buikas. Many
Is it,
thanks.
what is that? And what language is that?
Irish Gaelga.
Oh, I want to learn some Irish. You gotta teach me. We'll talk.
Okay.
Okay, everyone. This has been the Time Is Now podcast. My cousin's actually been here, Sarah, and all the information will be linked on these podcasts. So feel free to click on her website and go see her and connect. So once again, it's been the Time Is Now podcast. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, and we look forward to sharing with you again soon in the future.